Previously in the ongoing series, I've covered my travel experience from Europe to India, explaining about all the rules and requirements in detail, the corona test procedure upon arrival, and the various other online embassy registration requirements as applicable. This was followed by the video about my experience outside the airport with the failed taxi scam attempts and how to avoid them, along with certain best practices so as to reach your destination safely. Finally, the most recent video was about the best location for getting the RTPCR test done in the fastest and easiest way. Links for all the videos are on screen and in the description below. In this fourth and final episode of the series, I'll share my flight travel experience from India back to Europe via Doha and Amsterdam, talking about some more do's and don'ts along with additional information that will help make your travel easier if you're planning to make a trip on a similar route. Let's go. Despite the ongoing lockdown, taxis and cabs are allowed to operate, and it wasn't difficult to get one on my way to the airport. There were many police checkpoints on the way to the airport. I just showed my flight ticket and the police didn't ask anything further. Note that depending on the traffic, it can take even 15 to 20 minutes to clear each checkpoint, so plan your ride to the airport with sufficient time buffer. With hardly any traffic on the road otherwise, the rest of the ride was smooth and I was at the airport well in time. I also wanted to reach there earlier than usual as I had to do my RT-PCR test. Note that QR code is mandatory on the report only if you're flying out from India. At the airport, the COVID norms about social distancing and masks are very well implemented. And in case you need to take a printout of the boarding pass, that's contactless as well. Really nice. Having a hard copy of the documents is better because when requested, you can just hand over the documents instead of your phone or tablet, for example. With only a few flights operating, there were only a handful of people inside the airport. Restaurants selling snacks and coffees are open as well. Check-in process seemed like a breeze due to only a few number of passengers. Oh, by the way, this first one is actually only a domestic flight to Mumbai, so only my photo ID and RT-PCR test report was checked here.
So check-in is finished now. I'm going towards security. It's quite smooth. So I just got done with the security. It's always confusing with the security. The guy who was before, he wanted me to take out only the laptop, but after the security, the guy wanted all the electronics out. So anyway, I had to go through it again. But otherwise also it was quite seamless, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes. That's all you need, and because of the less number of people, it's all very systematic.
Many of the seats are blocked to maintain social distancing. So it took me a while to find a place to sit comfortably. And in the meantime, something strange caught my eye.
I can't help but notice how many people are actually not wearing the mask properly. They either have it between the nose and the upper lip. I don't even know how the mask is not falling off. Or they have it between the lip, the chin and the neck. Both the cases, it defeats the purpose of wearing the mask in the first place. And of course, when someone is having food, they are exempt. But I also see that I'm here in the waiting area. That's how I'm just observing this. That many people are just using the food they've had maybe 20 minutes ago as an excuse to not wear a mask. That is also, I think, not so correct. Yeah, you should wear it properly, and you should wear it properly. Yeah.
Speaking of food, I got something for myself from the airport lounge. Yes, they are open, but only takeaway is available. That is, no dine-in. I also saw sensor-based contactless water bottle refilling stations. It's such a fantastic initiative during this pandemic, and also it'll cut down a lot on the plastic waste. The boarding area had the same seating and COVID social distancing norms in place, and it all felt very well organized.
So a few minutes remaining before we start boarding, and everyone has been given this. Face shield, a mask, sanitizer. So even if you forget to get one of these face shields, you will get one before boarding. And of course, goes without saying, it's mandatory for everyone to be wearing this all the time.
However, as soon as the boarding began, it seems people forgot about COVID. I found a way around the crowd and tried to avoid them as much as I could while fixing my PPE and getting ready to board. As expected, most of the flights flying these days are not fully full. Originally, I had a window seat at the wing of the craft, but while others were still boarding, I was offered a seat at the emergency exit. Saying yes to this offer was a no-brainer as these seats usually have much better legroom. Some final adjustment to the face shield and we were ready for takeoff. It was a 1-hour flight and a quick nap later, I could already see Mumbai outside the window. Travel ban from India was in place and both Emirates and Lufthansa had already cut flights departing from India. I was flying with Qatar Airways and already mentally prepared for it to be a packed flight as this was the only remaining option for people willing to fly out from India. However, the scene at the international check-in blew my mind away. Despite having more than 4 hours to spare, looking at the long queue and the time being taken for each passenger during their document check, I was wondering if it was enough and if I was going to make it in time. They checked my passport, visa, RTPCR test report, and the mandatory digital registration for entering Germany. The process was poorly organized to say the least. Although personally I did not need any help, but I found that the ground staff were laughing and giggling away instead of helping others, especially the international passengers who really seemed desperate to go back to their home country. At immigration, my passport, visa, RT-PCR test report, and the digital registration for entering Germany was checked again. Just so you know, the duty-free, some small cafes, and the airport lounge is open at Mumbai Airport as well. I didn't really have the time for it as it was already boarding time, so I went straight to the boarding gate. When I reached there, the staff was already distributing the PPE kits for the flight. I got mine as well. Boarding was as per zones and overall I think it went well. The passengers who were to sit between the window and aisle seat had to additionally wear a PPE suit which was provided by the airline. Social distancing norms were both followed and ignored by passengers from time to time. This was a flight departing 4 a.m. in the morning. I fell asleep even before the takeoff and woke up only during the landing at Doha. Therefore, I have no idea what happened during the flight, and also I'm clueless about the quality of the food that was served on board. I woke up fresh at Doha Airport. The huge duty-free area and the related shops, cafes, restaurants, and many other outlets are open here. Actually, apart from people wearing masks, everything else seemed like business as usual. I had just 1 hour in hand, so I rushed to the boarding gate for my connection to Amsterdam. Although this was only a transit, but they still checked all my documents again at the boarding area. This flight was almost empty. While I waited for the takeoff, something out of the box crossed my mind. It's strange how times have changed. I'm the kind of person who would gladly strike a conversation with a passenger sitting next to me and exchange some travel ideas, related information, or maybe just a casual chat. Yet, I'm the same person now who is happy when the next seats are vacant. I've never seen Doha city skyline in real, but maybe this is the one outside the window? I don't know. If you do, please let me know in the comments. By now, I was already feeling hungry and I'm happy to report that the in-flight dining did not disappoint. It was quite decent. Flying towards Amsterdam, most of the remaining flight time was spent either sleeping or using the in-flight entertainment. It was after almost 2 years that I was going to be in Europe during summer. The weather looked nice and so did the view of the large open green fields below. Right after landing, as soon as we deboarded the airplane, the officials checked the RT-PCR test report. You know, the usual, date, time, etc. Yet again, I had only 1 hour connection time and I was literally running towards the immigration. Here, they only checked my passport, visa and the RT-PCR test report. Once that was done, I located my departing gate and headed straight for that. Crossing a slew of resting areas, luxury stores, duty-free shops, restaurants and other travel essential shops in between. By the way, there's also a money changer and ATM here in case you need some euros. Boarding process was smooth, but there again, they checked the RT-PCR test report and the digital registration for entering Germany. Passport and visa had already been checked at the immigration. It was a quick 45-minute flight. There were no meals and only water was available, but that too on request. As we approached Germany, the pleasant, warm, bright, sunny weather had changed to rainy and a bit too cold for my comfort. But you know what they say in Germany, right? There's no bad weather, there's just bad clothes. The arrival immigration check in Germany was the quickest of them all. They checked the RTPCR, the digital registration, passport and visa, and that's it. I was done and I exited the airport. I proceeded towards the stay area where I had some much needed refreshments before calling it a night. So this was my flight travel experience. If you have any follow-up questions, please post it as a comment, or you can also send me a DM on Instagram. I created Rumor Realm because I believe in creating videos that help you travel worldwide within your budget and without compromising on safety. And besides helping you travel more for less, I also want you to know about my life at sea working on mega container ships as a merchant marine engineer. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. Keep exploring. This is Rahul for Rumor Realm, and I'll see you in the next one.